Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Grab a Deck and Read with Me. I thought this might be interesting to do because I am wondering whether the Wild Unknown Tarot is right for me. And so I've been working with it the last week or so, doing some daily draws, and I thought another test would be to actually do a dedicated reading with the deck. So we'll see how that goes. Now, I invite you to grab a deck, any deck. I am also going to include the Reclaim Oracle just to pull a card and round out the reading, but this is going to be a reading dedicated to endings, if you will. And I think this is a really apropos spread for me because that is pretty much what I am immersed in and have been for like the last couple months. So I am actually going to use a spread from Cosmic Creepers Tarot spreads. And the one that I wanted to use was this one on vulture medicine. Editing Julie coming on to say that while the vulture medicine spread is available to the public and therefore free for us to use and share, the other spreads in her ebook are not permitted for sharing. So please see the description below for how you can access her ebook of spreads. I felt like this was an apropos spread because it does deal with an ending phase. So, as it says here, I encourage you to identify an ending phase you're moving through. After doing so, utilize Vulture's medicine, beginning with the reading prompts. This is a way to account for endings, loss, any unconscious or under-acknowledged grief, and the harder parts of our experience. So, I think I've said before that normally I'm like a 4, 5 card spread kind of gal. So I had considered maybe paring this down by eliminating a prompt or two, but actually I'm not going to do that because I like all the prompts in this. So I'm just going to keep it to a 6 card spread. But if you're following along with me, if you're reading along with me with your own deck and doing your own reading, feel free to revise as you see fit. And again, this is meant to be a spread in which we're exploring any kind of loss or ending phase. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, a loss of a loved one, which is what I've been dealing with. It could be, a loss of, say, a creative project or, an ending phase in regards to maybe something in your career or in a different type of relationship. So if this is not a spread that particularly resonates with you, then you could just use it as practice in reading tarot. So, also, once you've picked out your deck, whether that be one that you're particularly in love with right now, or maybe like me, you're wondering if this is a deck that is ultimately going to work for you, and you want to give it a little bit of a test drive. So, you grab that deck, maybe grab a journal if you're into journaling your spreads. This is not a race, so take as little and as much time as you need. And I will be back with the cards that I have drawn. All right, here are the cards that I pulled. And I did take some time for myself to do some journaling and to write down my thoughts. Yeah, okay, so the first prompt, card number 1, the naked truth, down to the bare bones of an ending. And I pulled the magician. For me, the magician is a figure that, they get shit done, right? They get shit done. But for better or for worse, they're alone. Whenever you see a magician card, it's usually a solitary figure. And so I personally am reading this card in context of my recent loss. an ending. It is definitely it is my truth. It is my naked truth. I'm gonna be alone for better or worse. Um, in that I've been asked, and for all intents and purposes, I'm tasked with, taking on responsibility for handling my sister's affairs on my own. When it comes to power attorney, it's going to be me. It's going to be all on me. And don't get me wrong, I have wonderful support from Matt and others. And you can have that and still feel alone and have to act alone and be alone in a certain capacity. And that is essentially what my circumstance is right now and what I'm having to navigate. In that, as helpful and as supportive as Matt is and will try to be, and others in my life are and will try to continue to be, at the end of the day, it's going to be on me to act alone and to get shit done on my own. Okay, prompt number 2, an act of surrender, loosening my grip. We have Mother of Pentacles or Queen of Pentacles, and boy, does this one really hit hard. Actually, all these cards really kind of hit hard. People who are the eldest of immigrant parents or the eldest of like a latchkey kid household, they will understand that this is a role that we have had to take on in some form or another from a young age. And for me personally, it has been a role that's been on autopilot for me for a good majority of my life. And so, up until, a few years ago when I decided to surrender this role, I mean, it was just something that was ingrained in me and then that I didn't even think of. And, you think of the Mother of Pentacles and you think of all the responsibility that they take on and the nurturing. And sometimes that's great. And sometimes that is enabling in ways that don't serve. I had to recognize that in myself, that for myself and for others involved, I had to relinquish this role. And I think now, especially now, I mean, it's a chosen surrender. And then now also an inevitable surrender, because of the loss. And perhaps this is also a message that I should not only, surrender, but also invite someone else to take on this role and for me to be on the receiving end of such care and nurturing. No, that I'm not always the one having to take on the responsibility and having to look after others, that I am deserving of this same type of care. Third prompt, how to witness myself more fully. And here we have the Son of Pentacles. And we have a young buck here who is just beginning to grow their antlers. I think the way that I perceive this card and the message is just acknowledging that, this is my current state. This is where I am in terms of learning what comes after loss from such a close and personal position. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to feel from day to day. It is all new. I am learning. I will learn. I will get there. I just have to sit with this fact that, it's kind of like a reverting of, right? We're going from like a Mother of Pentacles to a Son of Pentacles. So that shift in role and in circumstance for me is just something that I need to acknowledge. I need to acknowledge that and be okay that this is where I am and will be probably for some time. Prompt 4, an invitation for integration and or embodiment. And I pulled the Seven of Pentacles. One of the ways in which many of us might interpret this card is that it is a card of uncertainty. So I read this as an invitation to get comfortable with uncertainty. It's going to be uneven ground. It's gonna be an uphill climb, and I'm not always gonna know the outcome of a certain situation. I'm not always going to receive the outcome that I desire of that situation, and I just have to get comfortable with that fact. Which, yeah, nothing about the situation is fucking comfortable. Let's just put it that way. And if I try to make peace with this, that would hopefully make things easier on me, right? In theory. So number 5 is nourishment for moments of crumbling, and I pulled the Father of Wands or King of Wands. And to me, this is master creatrix energy. And so, what would be nourishing for me in these moments of crumbling and untethering is to tap into that creatrix energy. Uh, I love to create things. Those of you who have been on my channel know that I love to create. And so, this is a card that really speaks to me because I think it would do me some good to, yeah, to try to make things, whatever, doesn't matter, whether it be, completing like a coloring page or starting on, the next custom for my next doll, just whatever. I have this like kit here that's like a crochet kit. I mean, that could be fun or that could be frustrating. I'm not sure, but like just getting into the act of, yeah, tapping in, welcoming that creatrix energy to make something for distraction, for fun. I'm loving that message. And then final prompt, what am I ready to reclaim? And the card that I pulled is the Emperor. And this tracks. I am more than ready to reclaim a sense of like groundedness and stability, uh, and feeling like I'm resilient and I'm not going to topple over, and that I can withstand a lot. I can withstand whatever comes my way. And as someone who is, I like control. I don't like being out of control or having no feeling of control. And right now, that is all I'm feeling these days. And so to get back to this place would be fantastic. I anticipate it's gonna be a while, but I am here for it. I'm here for it right now. I'm here for it right now, but it's not gonna happen right now. That's okay. It will happen. It will happen. And then finally, the oracle card that I pulled from the Reclaim Oracle to round out this reading is regret. And wow, okay, yeah, I'm really not going to speak on that because I don't really feel like bursting into tears on YouTube. Yeah, definitely something that I have to contend with. And my dumb ass should have known better than to use the Reclaim Oracle if I didn't want to get emotional. So I'm just not going to get into it. But there you have it. How was your reading with your deck of choice? How did this spread work for you? Hopefully, you've gained some insight. Hopefully, you've done some exploration or at least gotten some fun practice with working with your deck or decks if you decided to use an oracle as well. Thank you to Tegan for a wonderful tarot spread. I will try to link where you could order this collection of spreads for yourself if you decide that it's something you wanted to check out. As always, purchase responsibly. As far as this deck, Wild Unknown, okay, so this was a very powerful reading. It's very on point. I don't think I'm really into this deck though. Like, ultimately, I don't know that this deck is for me. Yeah, this deck, I don't know. I mean, this was a great reading. And you can have a great reading with a deck, because this has happened to me before. You can have a great reading with a deck, and then that deck still just not really be doing it for you. So I think that might be where I still am with this. This might need to go to another home. But let me think on it some more. Okay, anyway, thank you all. If you've hung out with me for this long, if you participated with me, thank you so very much. And until the next time, much love and take care.